it going out there, YouTubers? Cyberneck Shark here with another new movie review for you. So let's go right into this review and see what I saw. So welcome to another awesome movie review, folks, over there in YouTube land. So the movie I'll be talking about today is a Oscar-nominated and Oscar-winning picture that just won Best Picture for its movie-going experience from last year. This is also a movie that deals with some interesting real-life story about two gentlemen that basically create a bond and friendship that wasn't common for the time period that it was happening in. So you're probably wondering, what movie am I talking about? Is it have to do with a singer? No. Well, kind of, because there was music related in this, but there was no singing involved. It was just musical sounding keys. So if you guessed it, you're right. This movie review is about Green Book. Oh yeah, the great Green Book. So if you haven't seen Green Book yet, definitely check it out, people. This movie is amazing. Absolutely loved it. Thought it was fantastic. All around, great performances by everyone involved with this film. It was so beautifully created, and it was a really awesome, retelling of, a story that we only, have heard the words about. We weren't there. We didn't get to witness it, unfortunately. But from what was told to those individuals that helped write the screenplay, help create this story, to show this relationship blossom, it is as true as it can be, and too much of reality is what it could be too as well. Now, this movie was directed by an awesome director. Now, this director usually directs with his brother and does mostly comedy films. So I was really surprised that he actually did a biographical kind of film with an element of comedy in it. So I was really surprised that he directed this. But that is none other than the awesome director, Mr. Peter Farrelly. Now, Peter Farrelly, like I said, you might recognize as the director of films like Stuck on You, Hall Pass, that he co-directed with his brother. But a couple movies I really enjoyed that he directed were none other than an awesome film that came out in 1998 that has a great ensemble cast. You have Ben Stiller in it. You had Cameron Diaz in it. You had, just a slew of great comedians and actors at the time. Chris Elliott, etc., etc. Just a fantastic and funny comedy, kind of rom-com type of film. And then, of course, is the film There's Something About Mary. Oh, yeah. I absolutely love this film. I thought it was a fantastic film. I love how the Farrelly Brothers movies always have that great kind of, the good guy ends up with the girl, or the good guy ends up, having a good, ending to his film, like a good story would be. And I love that they always have it where, the nice guy wins, basically. And I always love that. I love how they have such great, writing chemistry. They just bring a lot of greatness to their films. And I thought that Peter Farrelly did a fantastic job with directing Something About Mary and made it a great comedy film with lots of great one-liners, lots of great storytelling, and just a fun and all-around great film. Now, the other film that I really enjoyed that he directed is an awesome film that also he directed with his brother that came out in 1994. Now, this awesome 1994 movie finally got a sequel in 2014. So, 20 years later, finally, we got a sequel to this movie. And, of course, the original actors came back to portray them, Mr. Jim Carrey and Mr. Jeff Daniels. Now you know where I'm going with what movie, huh? Yeah, of course you do. You should know this, especially if you love comedy films. And that, of course, is the awesome film Dumb and Dumber. Oh, yeah. I absolutely remember watching this movie when it first came in 94. And I just remember thinking, oh my god, this movie is absolutely freaking hilarious. And even 25 years later now, this movie still is absolutely freaking hilarious. And Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels brought it. I never thought Jeff Daniels was going to be a great comedian. I wasn't too sure about that because all the movies I had seen previously with him were either like horror action type of films or like action films, like Speed and Arachnophobia and stuff like that. And so seeing him in a comedy and portray this character, I was just blown away with how great of a range he has of acting. And him and Jim Carrey worked so amazing together in that film, made such great iconic characters, Harry and Lloyd, and just the Farleys directed the crap out of that film and made such an amazing, iconic comedy film, and just showed how great of comedic directors can be. And until Peter directed Green Book, I had no idea how great of a range he had of directing, and he really has a fantastic range. I totally was blown away with how great he directed this film, how well he made it, how he just took it to a whole new level, gave us a little bit of comedy element in it, but also kept it very personal and kept it very and straight to the point of the actual true story about these two fellers. And I just thought he did such an amazing job directing it, and totally deserved to have an Oscar nom for his directing, and unfortunately he got snubbed. I was very sad by that, but at least he won for Best Screenplay, so I was very happy about that, that he at least got that, and he got, for Best Picture as well. That showed that he really has a great talent, and that he's just not a part of the Farrelly Brothers, but also he's a great director on his own. And I feel he really proved it with Green Book and made a fantastic and excellent film. Now, this movie has a fantastic cast. I mean, this cast is just amazing, 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 and I was so pleased with who they picked for the film. All of them were so amazing in the film, and were picture perfect portraying their characters, and these true life characters, and I feel that if Tony the Lip and Don Shirley were still alive today, they would have felt very pleased by the performances by Viggo and by Mahershala, because they both really brought their characters to life for this time and age. Unfortunately, because they passed away 5 years ago, or actually it's going to be 6 now, that, they would have been very pleased by their performances of showing their story. So to start off this awesome cast, we have none other than Mr. Don Shirley himself in the film. And that, of course, is Mr. Mahershala Ali. Oh, yeah. So Mr. already Oscar winner is up for another Oscar nom for his portrayal of Don Shirley in the Green Book. Now, Mahershala Ali you might recognize from, True Detective Season 3, that's on HBO right now, or has just concluded or whatever. And you might recognize him from a few other films over the years, such films as like, bit parts and cameos and stuff and things. You might recognize him from the early 2000s as Mr. Prince Ali, the rapper, which he tried to do before he decided to get into acting to become his true profession. He just is a really amazing individual, and I was really impressed with his performance in this film. Now, a couple films I really enjoyed him and thought he was fantastic in were none other than an awesome film that actually just came out this February, and is an amazing CGI combination film produced by James Cameron's company, directed by Robert Rodriguez, and that, of course, is the awesome film called Alita: Battle Angel. Oh, yeah. So Alita: Battle Angel is based off of a Magna comic book series that was written from 1990 to 1995 by a Japanese gentleman. And it's just a really awesome story, and Mahershala's character in the film plays kind of like the main antagonist, but he's not really the main villain. He actually is kind of like the puppet of the main villain. And he still kind of like portrays kind of the main villain as that puppet. And he just was so awesome, and I really enjoyed him in it. Thought he was really fantastic. I liked how he took the character, what he did with him, and just how he brought the character to a new light, and just gave us a really awesome performance. And I thought that, it shows how great of an, all-around versatile actor he is, and portraying this character as he does in the film, because I just think he did a really fantastic job, and just brought a new type of presentation to his acting ability in this film. The other movie I really enjoyed Mahershala in is an awesome movie that was an interesting film. It was decent. I can see why it won Best Picture last year. I can see why it was considered, kind of a controversial but slash kind of a great film too, because it was such an aspiring story that was different than what we've seen in a while. And Mahershala's performance in the film was so amazing. Even though it wasn't a huge part, he still was so fantastic in it, and why he won the Best Supporting Actor Oscar for this role. And that, of course, is in the awesome film Moonlight. Oh, yeah. So Moonlight, if you're not familiar with what the film is, basically it's about the stages of this African-American male that is basically trying to live his life, what he goes through, and kind of having to deal with who he is and what he wants to be and where his life takes him through all the trials and tribulations he has, basically has to go through. And Mahershala plays one of the kind of supporting characters to the main actors that are in the film, and he kind of plays a mentor character. And I thought he was so amazing, and I totally agree with him winning the Best Supporting Actor Oscar for that film. He was so good and amazing. I ended up feeling just like became so entrenched by his character, and falling and kind of in love with that character and wanting to know that character because he was so intense and so good at it. It just was a really great performance. If you haven't had a chance to see Moonlight, definitely check it out. I recommend checking it out. It's not something I would own, but definitely was something that was interesting to watch, and I'm glad I got to see it and to see, Mahershala's performance in the film. So the next actor that I'll be talking about in this awesome film is none other than Mr. Tony Lip himself, portrayed by an amazing actor that I think is one of the best actors around. I absolutely love him. I think he's such an amazing, just actor, person, just an awesome individual. And that, of course, is Mr. Viggo Mortensen. Now, Viggo Mortensen you might recognize from A History of Violence, Eastern Promises. You might recognize him from cameos in different movies over the years. Just a ton of films over the years that he's done. But a couple films I really enjoyed him in and thought he was really fantastic in was an awesome trilogy that came out from 2001 through 2003 that actually, for the third picture, won Best Picture for 2003. And that was him playing the awesome character Aragorn, and of course the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Oh yeah. Absolutely loved Viggo as Aragorn. He was so awesome, so amazing. He played the character to the T. He looked the part. He just was so amazing. He really portrayed Aragorn's character from the book series, and I thought that he was probably one of the most accurate of his real character from the book. And he just was so amazing and awesome, and just all the action sequences, his dialogue, his really sincere, like, kind of dramatic moments throughout the film series was so intense and awesome, and just automatically made you fall in love with him and, want to know him and want to be his friend. And he just brought such a great sensibility to that character, and it was a really amazing performance. I really enjoyed Viggo in that series, and I think that's probably one of his best series to date. Another film I really enjoyed Viggo in was an awesome film that came out in 1996 that stars Sylvester Stallone and Amy Brenneman. And this film is a disaster action film that, was kind of around this time frame, the late 90s. There was this huge outburst of these, natural disaster, kind of disaster film type of films, kind of like they did in the late 70s, early 80s, along with Earthquake and Poseidon Adventure and stuff like that. And this film series this film was just such an amazing film and just a great action-packed film. Absolutely loved seeing it in the theaters back in '96, and I just really enjoyed it. Thought it was a really great action film. And that, of course, is a film called Daylight. Oh yeah, music in it was so awesome, so well directed by Rob Cohen. It just was a really fantastic film, and I absolutely loved Viggo's short role in the film because he plays like this premature born guy that's like this, kind of a basically the front runner or the image of this company of the great outdoors and stuff like that, and this hiking gear and stuff like that. And just his performance in the film was so stinking hilarious, but at the same time so fun and awesome, and just like he was like such a kind of like a badass kind of character a little bit when he takes on the climbing up the shaft and stuff, trying to get out and stuff. It just was a really fun performance by Viggo. One of the first performances I've ever seen of him. And it was funny watching other movies with him later down the road and going, oh my god, I forgot he was in Daylight. And that was like the first role I saw him in. And I was like, wow, I really still love that role, though, of his character, because I thought he was a great addition to that cast. And just a fun and awesome character, too, I thought. Really enjoyed him in that, and thought it was another one of his great films to enjoy as well. But when it comes to his character of playing Tony Lip in The Awesome Green Book, he was so stinking fantastic. So perfect. His dialogue and his presentation of who Tony Lip was just was so spot on and so good. I automatically fell in love with Tony Lip and wanted to know more about him, what he was about, wanted to be his friend, and I just thought he was so fantastic at that, and I can see why he was nominated for an Oscar for Best, Actor, because he just was so good in it, and his just performance was so perfect and on point, and so emotional, but at the same time kind of funny in certain parts, and just his chemistry with Mahershala was so on point too in that relationship of being these two individuals that are segregated by skin color, unfortunately, because that was such a big thing from the 1800s, since slavery and all that stuff, unfortunately spanned all the way through. I mean, even to today's, unfortunately, we still see some of that going on. But I mean, that relationship though really showed just how good they were together, and how they showed how two people, no matter where they're from, what their color, what their ethnicity, stuff like that, how they can come together and be best friends, and how humans are all humans, no matter what you are, and that we're all connected together, and we can become best of friends or best of enemies. It's just how it is. And I thought that Viggo and Mahershala did such a great job of showing what that relationship was really like for Tony Lip and Don Shirley, and how they came together and became best friends for their entire life, basically, up until they both died 3 months apart from each other. I just thought it was a really amazing performance by Viggo, and totally worth watching for his performance, just as much as Mahershala's. Such a great performance, great acting, and just a great performance in all. That brings me to the awesome actress that portrays Tony Lip's wife in the film, and our last actress on this awesome movie that was really kind of a bigger name, or of particular interest. Now, this awesome actress, I think, is fantastic. She was known for being in Freaks and Geeks. She's been in a slew of films over the years. She's recently portrayed Hawkeye's wife in Avengers Age of Ultron. And she's just been an amazing actress, comedian, / just, person that's fun to watch, and is just a great, like I said, actress all in all. And that, of course, is Miss Linda Cardellini. Now, like I said, Linda Cardellini you might recognize from Freaks and Geeks and a slew of films over the years. Many different little cameo roles and so forth. She was actually, her very first feature role was actually in the 1997 Nickelodeon film about two characters that Kenan Thompson and Kel Mitchell created in the film Good Burger. Oh my god, yeah. So that was like her first feature film, and it was just funny watching her recently in that, actually, and going, wow, even though it was a small performance, she still was like so funny and so hilarious. And I mean, this was made just a little bit prior to her being on Freaks and Geeks. So it was kind of funny seeing her play this kind of like psycho, person in this film / kind of comedy element, and kind of being similar to how Ed is mentally. And I just thought she did a really fantastic job in it, and that was just so funny. But a couple films I really enjoyed her in, or an awesome film series I really enjoyed her in, and a film that I really enjoyed her in, was such an awesome film series that came out between 2002 and 2004. And she played a titular character of Velma Dinkley in this awesome series. And that, of course, is the awesome live action take on the awesome cartoon series from the 1960s, the Scooby-Doo films. Oh yeah, so Scooby-Doo 1 and Scooby-Doo 2, Monsters Unleashed. I absolutely loved her as Velma. I thought she was perfect. I thought she was funny as the character. I really enjoyed her. One of my favorite parts in the second film is when she puts on that red tight outfit and tries to be sexy for Seth Green's character in the film was the best scene in that entire movie. She was so freaking hilarious. And just like her whole movements and her facial expressions were just so pitch perfect and just so funny. She was so fantastic in those films. I loved her as Velma. I really don't see anybody else playing Velma because I think she was picture perfect as playing Velma, and she really brought the character to life for us on the big screen. And I just thought those were really well done films too. I mean, even though they weren't like critically acclaimed or anything, I still think everyone that was involved with those films was perfect and played the characters to the T. And I really wish they had made more movies because I thought they were fun and hilarious, and I thought they did a really good job. And I really think Linda Cardellini was really fantastic as Velma. Now, the other film I really enjoyed Linda Cardellini in was an awesome film that came out, I believe, in 2000 or 2001 or 1999. I can't remember exactly when this movie came out, but I know it was that time frame. And this was just a really fun Reese Witherspoon film where she brought to life this awesome character that is just super funny, superficial, but at the same time has heart. And that, of course, is the awesome film Legally Blonde. Oh, yeah. I absolutely love Linda Cardellini's character in the film. She plays like a bad guy character, and she's so stinking funny. How they have her dressed and look, it's like so bizarre and almost kind of similar to her crazy character in Good Burger. And she just was like so freaking funny and playing kind of like this nobody but slash kind of knows something about this whole murder case against Ali Carter, or Ali Ladder. And just like how like it, it's so funny of a role. I absolutely love her character. Thought it was so stinking hilarious. Really enjoyed the character and just thought it was a fun all around character too, because I thought it brought a lot of just funniness to the character too as well. Her performance and just how she brought that character to life, and just it was a really funny role. Even though it wasn't a huge role, it still was like super funny. Really enjoyed it, and if you haven't seen Legally Blonde, definitely check it out, people. It's worth the watch. Really funny and a great performance by Linda Cardellini. But when it comes to her portraying Tony Lip's wife in the film, I thought she did a really fantastic job. I thought she was really fun. I thought she brought a nice essence to the character. We don't really know much about her, unfortunately, because she died so early in life. She was only, I think, in her 60s when she passed in the late 90s. And unfortunately, she was the lifelong love of Tony Lip. And, they were together up until the end. And I thought she did a great and wonderful portrayal of this true life person that we really don't know much about. And just how, amazing of a woman she was, and how she, did such an amazing feat, letting Tony go off and do this thing, and how he ended up getting this lifelong friendship out of his wife still sticking with him, even though he was going to be gone, for almost a year and a half. And just how she portrayed her and gave us that kind of new light to that person and to Tony Lip's life was just a really great performance by Linda. Really enjoyed her performance and really enjoy her just as an actress. I think she does a fantastic job. Definitely worth the watch to check out Linda Cardellini in this film. She was really good. Really well done. So if you're not familiar with what Green Book is about, basically, like I said, the movie is basically about the true life friendship of Don Shirley and Tony Lip Vaginello. And just how, basically, it's about how Don Shirley hires him, Tony Lip, to be his driver and bodyguard back in the early 60s when he goes on a concert tour down in the South. And basically the movie's about how they become friends and how they became lifelong friends and kind of their journey through that concert bout that they did back in the 60s. And it was just a really awesome and amazing story. Like I said, I think they did an amazing job with it. I think that they did fantastic, portrayal of everything and how it was very accurate and so, correct and just really well done and really enjoyed it. It's a fantastic film. Definitely deserved Best Picture. Definitely Mahershala Ali deserved Best Supporting Actor as well. A really well-rounded film, well-directed, well-acted, just well-written. An all-around great film. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out, people. Worth a watch. An amazing film. It's still in theaters. I think you can get it on digital download now, though. You can watch it through Vudu or Movies Anywhere. Just a really fantastic film. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. Worth a watch. Definitely Oscar worthy. Really enjoyed it and looking forward to purchasing it when it comes out on Blu-ray 4K. So that's it for this movie review, guys. As always, thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. And also, thank you for subscribing. If it's your first time here, if you've been here before and you haven't hit that subscribe button, what do I gotta do? Beg you? Come on, people. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss this video and the awesome videos I put up. As always, people, keep your eyes out for the older, newer videos you might not have seen mine yet. And as always, people, check out the awesome Stardust app where you can watch 3 to 30-second little mini reviews on anything your heart desires in the movie industry. From trailers, movies, TV shows, anything your heart desires. And also, if this is something that interests you, go ahead and become a awesome Starduster. It's a free app. Make up an account. Look for me under the Cybernetic 13. You follow me, I'll follow you back. As always, people, catch you in the next one.